Hello, everybody. Let's do it in English. I understand that we are already, and we are now live. So it is my pleasure. It is my pleasure to welcome today to an outstanding speaker. She is Cristina Carrascosa. Let me introduce Cristina today. Cristina, she's a specialized tax lawyer. And she's also a total expert in blockchain and cryptos. She's a member of the Observatory of Blockchain that it was created by the European Commission with the support of the Parliament of the European Union. And she's also the director of the area of blockchain in Vincent Manson. She is also a teacher, a professor in IE Business School and ESADE Business Law School. So welcome, Cristina, today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, Laura. My pleasure, of course, to be here today with you all. And very happy to have had a second chance of actually speaking about what is happening in crypto and what are my thoughts over the short-term future in this space. And yes. Thank you a lot.
Yeah, you're an outstanding expert. So I think that today you're gonna teach us a lot, and we are all really looking forward to this meeting here and to this session. So
yeah, I consider myself a freak more than an expert. I don't know if someone can be an expert in the crypto space given how fast things go, but I'm a freak. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So let's start with the questions that I have for you today, and what we're gonna do later. I mean, please, everybody, send your questions. I can see your questions here, and will be very happy to make it to Cristina, to Chris, and Cristina will answer the questions after the session. So let's start. My first question here to you, Chris, will be, how did you discover the blockchain technology? And how did you decide to dedicate professionally to the blockchain technology?
Okay, so this was, it wasn't intentional. So this was just pure luck, I guess. Around 2012, I was working at a small law firm, and we didn't have like a communication guy. So I was doing the blog entries, and I had no content at the time. So I just decided to look up in the internet, what could I talk about on the post that I was expected to deliver. And I came across Bitcoin. So I was reading about Bitcoin, and it came to me like a shock, like, okay, this is some sort of new digital money. And I usually draw when I'm trying to understand things. I draw on a paper. So I started drawing, and this is Bitcoin. And it seems like this works with some sort of wallets. And there is this technology beneath it called blockchain. And as I was drawing, it just struck me like, oh wow, this technology that enables P2P, peer-to-peer transactions seems to be quite innovative. And I just decided to write about this. And in that moment, it was when I just thought I need to know more about this. And I moved. I was living in Valencia for that time, and I moved to Madrid because there wasn't a very big community, crypto community around that time. So I moved to Madrid, and I just started to go to meetups, to little gatherings that people did around that time. And I moved to another law firm. So that's when I started.
Very interesting, very interesting. So to start already going deeper, can you tell us what is the blockchain technology for people that don't know much about blockchain technology?
Yeah, okay, so blockchain technology, I like to describe it as the sum of different functionalities that other technologies had already brought to the text space. So what it does, it is like so the basic thing it does, it enables peer-to-peer transactions. But for me, the most important functionality is that it does it from a decentralized perspective. So it's the first time in history that we enable a system that is, it works because of the nodes it has beneath it, and nodes are just users that want to access the network and just get their hardware working for the system and the network. So it's the first time that we as users can build up a very resilient network of peer-to-peer transactions that can then, you can use it then just to build on top of it as much as you can imagine. So you can build, for example, a decentralized application, or you can build on top of it just like Bitcoin does, peer-to-peer transactions of something that is valuable. And at the end of the day, what it makes it resilient is the more decentralized it is, the more resilient it is. And this can be something good for certain industries, but it will not work for every single industry. So one message I really like to put through when I speak about blockchain is the fact that blockchain from like its advantages will not work for every single industry and will not work as something innovative, and it will not add value in every single sector. Okay, so that's something very important, because we have gone through a couple of years ago, we were going through this hype of blockchain fixes every single problem that you could have in every single sector and every single company. This is not the case. So it will work very good in certain spaces and it will not work in other.
This is so interesting what you're saying, Chris, because some years ago it looked like blockchain was going to solve every problem in any vertical. So, like going that path, what are the sectors that you think that where blockchain brings more value?
Okay, so let me just like specify one small detail. We have already surpassed the stage where we are only speaking about blockchain. So let me put an example. If blockchain is like, blockchain is to a car like the brakes. This meaning that when the first time someone invented the brakes of the car, we were all asking him, hey, how do these brakes work? Okay, but then when they were implemented into the car, we no longer asked about how do these brakes work. We just get the car and the car works, and the car stops when we want it to stop, and we action the brakes. So blockchain is just the core technology and it's the basis. But what we are now talking about, and what we are now, I as a lawyer, I am working around now, are all the applications that are built on top of the blockchain. Okay, so answering to your question, to me, the most important or more interesting sectors from an economic perspective are the first one, of course, it's DeFi. This is decentralized finance protocols that are today, super fruitful. Second one, NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens, which I will, if you want, I can put you an example that is like very graphic. And then all around the supply chain, meaning from going from, for example, I've got a client that does security of food and health. He does it on the blockchain, and what he does is he's able to track every single from the supplier to the customer. He's able to track all the supply chain. So whenever there's like a health problem or a sanity problem, he's able to detect it and stop the supply chain right there, fix it, and then it's like a standby. He can put the supply chain on standby, fix the problem, and then just put it on play again. And for instance, I've got another client that does maritime transport on the blockchain, because that's a very expensive industry. You know, this financing maritime transport is quite an expensive thing to do. He's doing it on the blockchain using also beacons the containers that are, they work with Bluetooth. So he's able to detect where the container is, and the parts involved on the transport are able to see where is the signature, the documents, and where is the cargo. And I would say those are like, I'm sure I'm missing. Well, digital identity is, I guess, is like the third super application that is being quite popular and successful with blockchain. But I've got my my doubts, and I think that it's going to take more time than expected to develop a decentralized ID, very secure model. Because I guess in Spain, IDs work. You can implement this sort of IDs in countries where you've got like not a very robust system of IDs, but in Spain, our IDs work, our digital IDs work. So I don't know, I've got my doubts around that, but it's being developed. Yeah, okay, and it's being funded.
Very, very, very interesting. Really interesting. So the next question that I will have here is that are blockchain and cryptos regulated in any territory at the moment?
Good question. I would say yes and no. So there are certain applications of crypto assets that are not regulated, and I don't think they will ever be, because they don't involve such a like a change in the way things are managed. But there are others that either they are regulated or they will be regulated in the short term. So as far as I know, and I as member of the Blockchain Observatory, we've been working on it. MiCA, the Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation, it's coming into force sometime this year for sure, or maybe earlier next year. And MiCA is bringing not a very heavy regulation, but it's regulating absolutely every single crypto asset service provider. Okay. So yeah, so any company that is touching tangentially crypto assets will need to get registered inside the scope of MiCA. And as it's a European regulation, it will affect every single company in Europe in the same way. So that's something, to me as a Spaniard, that's quite good news, because you know, in Spain we are like the last of the last of the last in regulatory matters. So this will, I guess, it will make things equal for in the competition race. It will make things equal for every single agent.
So that will be the next regulation to be approved, you know, the first, let's say, no?
Yes. As if there is regulation now that's already in force. No, I don't think so. Yes, there is for certain aspects. For instance, companies that are issuing their tokens are there and they are executing public offerings. They've got their regulation, you know, our regulator, CNMV. They have already issued their own criteria that companies must follow in order to do ICOs or STOs in a compliant manner. And also, of course, I mean, there is something that we need to have very clear, and this is that companies that are working with crypto assets will need to execute the same compliance as companies that don't. And they will have to add some compliance given the fact that they are using crypto assets. So sorry.
No, Chris, my question will be, like, in a percentage, what is the percentage of companies that are at the moment using crypto assets? Maybe in Spain, in Europe, and worldwide? Like,
I would say a very small percentage. So I wouldn't consider crypto as like a mainstream industrial sector. But I would say that it is, because it's still something that startups are working with. So it hasn't gone. We've seen this PayPal news and JP Morgan news and Elon Musk and Tesla. Okay, but it's still something that's minority. But I would say that as soon as regulation comes into force and we can all know which page we are on and things are clear and transparent, I would say that will bust into more mainstream adoption.
I see. Well, I was going to mention Elon Musk further in the conversation, but now that you mentioned it, let's jump into that question. So what do you think about this movement that Elon Musk did? You know, that he acquired 1.5 billion dollars equivalent to cryptos. And what do you think about that? Why did he do it? What is the message he wants to? And do you think that other companies will follow him?
Okay, so as a lawyer, the first thing I should do is like this disclaimer of this is not financial advice. But personally, I'm quite a Bitcoin believer, not a maximalist, but quite a Bitcoin believer in the sense that I've been investing in Bitcoin since 2012, and I believe it to be some sort of anti-cyclical asset. So when like traditional economy is collapsing, or let me use the term collapsing, struggling. Bitcoin has proven to outstand. Okay, so in this sense, I believe that Elon Musk is he's known for his memes and his jokes, and this he did have some sort of issue with the SEC for his tweets, so we already know which kind of character he has. But I think that investing in Bitcoin for Tesla is more of economic strategy, so more of we want to have this anti-cyclical asset in our accountants, and see how it works, because 1.5 billion for Tesla is not that much, isn't it?
No, well,
no, it is, but it's not like it's not an all-in.
No, you're right. You're totally right. Well, Chris, going back to questions that are more media oriented, no, because this Elon Musk thing has been very, very on top of the media and the news, and so what will you say that the value that blockchain brings to the companies, especially to those companies that you already mentioned, the verticals that are more where blockchain is more important, I would say, or gives more value? What is the value, and what would you recommend to the companies to start implementing blockchain?
Okay, so I see two ways that Bitcoin can add value to an already existing company. One is if that company sees or considers that it can make an improvement in either transparency or traceability. So the company has to internally do some sort of examination and say, hey, can we improve in this and this? If the answer to both of them is yes, or automatization, then it may be worth it to look at blockchain. I don't say in every single case it will add more value than things as is, but it may be worth it. The second case is innovation, and this is the case for financial institutions 1,000%. This meaning that big companies, very, very big companies that want or don't have other path to walk that the innovation one, must go outside, see the market, and say, hey, what startups are out there that we can acquire and just incorporate to our business models. This is the case of financial institutions, because we have seen their business models are, I'm going to use the word outdated. Negative interests and some financial crisis have made them struggle quite a bit. So they are looking out there to see, hey, which startups are performing well, which protocols can we implement, and the way is innovation is the only way for their reinvention or their success. So I would see those two ways. Some companies will just implement blockchains in their internal business models. Other companies will just go out there, and we are seeing M&A transactions. We are preparing some M&A transactions with traditional companies and crypto startups.
Oh, really? That's
really... and it's super interesting. And this has happened since the beginning of times, but usually companies will not talk about this until they have already executed the transaction. And as soon as this happens, their competitors just run to try and chase them. So it's the painful thing is for the first one. It's painful for the first one, then it's just a matter of time.
I see. So well, that is very inspiring. Yeah. And Chris, following with all this new slang around blockchain, what is STO? And do you think that is a new way of financing?
Yeah, okay, so STOs, they stand for Securities Token Offerings, which is the evolution of the initial coin offerings. So STOs are ICOs, but compliant with regulation. Okay, so what a company does is they issue their own tokens that are securities, and they just offer them to the public, accredited and non-accredited investors, and they comply with certain regulatory issues that the regulators have just clarified. And so this is like a new way of funding. I would say funding a project, but I would also say it's a way of being part of a community. So let me explain a bit more. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put my personal example. I am following a project for quite a few years now that they are developing the infrastructure for the NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And what they are doing is they are developing an infrastructure where you can actually get, for example, a skin from Fortnite. You then will tokenize it into a non-fungible token, and you can take that skin from Fortnite to another video game.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean, it's to me, it was so exciting and so whoa, that I am following them, and they have issued their own token, and I invested in their tokens as, yeah, of course, as an investment, but also as some sort of, hey, I want to be part of this community, and I'm owning your token. So it's this intermediate thing between a security, so just coming into the capital of a company, and some sort of I would say T-shirt with the name of the project that you are wearing, which is I mean, it's super freak, but crypto is still, and its roots are super freak. So this is just a new way. Yeah, but from the legal side, it's not so new.
No. And what about the tokenization of the asset tokenization? What is it exactly similar to this, and is real or is a myth?
I would say asset tokenization is still a dream, because there's one pain point that we have not figured out how to solve, and it's the following. So it comes all down to tokenizing real estate. Okay, so you get a building and you want to tokenize it because you want to sell these micro parts of the building and then make them liquid and blah blah blah. Okay, but the thing is, there's one issue here, and it's a very big issue. That is, if we tokenize a building, and then those tokens can be just transferred from one another, P2P, on a peer-to-peer on a blockchain, and just remember, between pseudonymous wallets, which means I don't know who am I sending this token to. This means that I can do one thing, which is I can tokenize a building, then tell the token owners that they are also owners of a percentage of the building. Then I can sell the building to a third party, and then the guys that own the token will have no action against this third party. So I can commit a fraud, and I can get away with it because today regulation it's the problem that in the space we call it the on-chain off-chain issue, because we cannot match what happens off-chain to the on-chain tokens. as soon as we can match these two things, then asset tokenization will be a real thing. And I know, because I've been working with them, that the land registry here in Spain is working very thoroughly on making this possible. So they are trying to work their mind through how to tokenize an asset, and then in some way having that tokenization in the registry, so making it public. And I mean, it's a matter of time, but today I wouldn't recommend any of my clients to do asset tokenization, real assets tokenization.
I see. Is it happening anywhere in the world? I mean,
yeah, I think so. I mean, when I was in Vincent, I was talking to my UK colleagues, and I think that they are doing this, but because their land registry works in another way. And I think they were at least trying to attempt with a project to do asset tokenization, but this like on-chain off-chain possibility of fraud, I don't think it's very well nailed down in any jurisdiction yet.
I see. And another question that I have here is, what would you recommend? I mean, do you recommend to because you know our audience, there are a lot of lawyers, legal people, and legal startups. So how do you recommend the legal world to approach the blockchain world?
I would say, I mean, I would recommend them to do the same thing that I did, which is just get into the social media, which is Twitter and Reddit are the places where people talk more and in the best way about crypto, and then read and read and read and read and keep yourself updated, because crypto goes so fast that you need to be constantly updated. I would say that for this reason, I cannot recommend like currently any sort of legal course, because sometimes what I see is that some aspects of blockchain get outdated so fast that these legal courses cannot actually keep up the pace. So I would say, instead of investing or wasting your money on some sort of legal course, first read on social media. Medium is also a super good source of information. I use Medium a lot. There are super and very, very good posts there. And read, and also try and discuss with people on social media. I remember I myself, when I was getting into the space, I used to have a lot of discussions with Vlad Zamfir. He's a researcher for Ethereum. And I got to meet him in an Ethereum gathering that we did in Prague. And he taught me a lot of things, but one has to be like, don't be shy. Just get there and discuss things and ask things and get involved in discussions, because that's the best way, I think, to get involved in the space and learn.
Very good recommendation, Chris. And we've been talking about blockchain and cryptos for many years now, the ones that we have some years, and it's been going very slowly, but now it seems like it's moving faster. Why? Well, you said because maybe it's because of because the economy is struggling, not the real economy. Are there any other factors that they are accelerating the blockchain application?
Yeah, I would say, so of course, it's been now like 12 years since Bitcoin was born. I think that's quite a lot of time, and Bitcoin is now it's legitimate, so it's legitimated itself. And I would say a very important factor is the fact that the blockchain of Bitcoin has not been hacked ever. So that's, I mean, a new technology that says, hey, I'm new, then everyone goes, okay, let's see how do you perform. Okay, so 12 years later, here I am. I have not been hacked. I've got 30,000 worldwide nodes. I'm super decentralized and I'm resilient. Okay, So I think the legitimation of the technology is there. It's there, so we cannot deny it anymore. Then, of course, some very big players coming into the space that helps mainstream adoption. Because it's very funny, because I receive a lot of messages of when Elon Musk tweeted this, or when news came that Tesla had bought 1.5 billion, a lot of people that are around me texted me like, "Hey, Chris, is it now time to invest in Bitcoin? Because I've seen that Elon Musk has bought Bitcoin." Even Dogecoin, when Elon Musk was doing this joke about Dogecoin, people texted me, "Hey, should I buy Dogecoin?" So yes. Yeah. So we've got, like, everyone has these very big references, and when these references move into the crypto space, it just like rings the bell. Hey, should I come into the space too? So yes, it helps, of course. And then some very successful startups, which, I mean, there's so much talent in the space, and people are doing crazy things, but crazy things that work. Others don't, but I mean, I would have ever imagined I would be staking tokens, or I would be I tried when staking was created. I tried myself to stake tokens, and I stake tokens, and I was saying it's impossible for me to get like a 13% interest, because banks are now with negative interest and rates. So that's no way, that's not possible. I was getting a 13% interest, and I was just like saying, "Oh my God, this is crazy. I mean, what time are we living?" Yeah. And these very successful projects are also telling the world the message that hey, yes, we're freaks. Yes, we do. We have these colorful unicorns and these symbols around us that are very funny. But when we get to develop products, they work and they're new. So I guess these three factors are the ones that are making now maybe the industry speed up.
Mm-hmm. And how do you see the evolution for the next 5 years?
Interesting. For the next 5 years, okay. So I definitely see banks rendering crypto services for sure. Mm-hmm. And I see some. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw very big M&A transactions from some companies that find that acquiring a startup and just like implementing them inside their business model is faster and maybe cheaper than actually developing that same thing inside your company, so in-house. And I would see also I see users, like minority users, using protocols, which is something that I have not seen yet. So like a very graphic example is my mom. She's 70, and 2 months ago she bought her first Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, oh my God, if that's happening, what cannot happen? So I see now, this is the thing that I'm seeing more mainstream. So users that usually said Bitcoin is a scam, Bitcoin is a fraud, Bitcoin is super volatile, I wouldn't ever buy a Bitcoin, they are doing it. So I am seeing more users using these centralized protocols such as DeFi or NFTs and these sort of things that I used to see in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Very good. And I have a question about something that is that generates some controversy. And well, you know that for the targets of 2030, Green Deal is very important. Mm-hmm. About the environment, and many times it's said that to produce bitcoins we need we consume a lot of energy in the cloud, and we know about these las granjas, no, the farms, no, the farms, in Iceland and so on. What do you think about that? And what would you say to those people that say that the Bitcoin economy and the cryptos in general economy goes against environment and the Green Deal?
Okay, so first of all, I think I must agree with some part of that argument, because it's something, it's clear that some blockchains use a lot of energy, but then again, we do have solutions that use green energy to mine Bitcoins. Mm-hmm. And of course, other blockchains are switching their consensus algorithms to other algorithms that use less power and are more efficient. So I would say to those people actually saying these things, hey, blockchains are not static infrastructures. They are very dynamic, and they've got a huge capacity of pivoting, especially when we're saying they are not as efficient as the users demanded to be. We're saying it now with Ethereum. Yesterday, I was trying to claim some token rewards that I had from the staking services, and my reward was 16 euros. And the gas that the Ethereum blockchain, the minimum gas that I had to pay to get those tokens to my wallet was 98 euros. So that was like crazy. That's nonsense. That's crazy. And what we're saying is that the Ethereum blockchain is actually in the pace of switching its consensus algorithm and the whole model. And that's what's going to happen. So, I mean, these guys that said, I even remember reading a post that said that Bitcoin used more energy than I think it was the Iceland, whole of Iceland. And I am sure I read another article that just proved it wrong. But I do not remember very well, so I am not going to go down that path further. But yes, they're not static, they're dynamic, so they will adjust.
Okay, yeah, and well, now I'm going to make you the last question, and then we will read some questions we have here and some questions that we have in the WhatsApp of the group too. So my last question will be, well, we always say that you know, the public administration in Spain is far behind digital transformation, far behind. What is the relationship of the public administration, Spanish, no, the Spanish one, with all the blockchain technologies and cryptos, and is there any European administration that is well, I will say in front of leading the adoption of the blockchain technology?
Yeah. Okay. So my experience in Spain is has been with two public administrations. The first one is our tax authorities, which, I mean, they're worldwide known for being not only way behind, but also they're not flexible with interpretation of the law, and I mean, and they have already proved to not have understood the way cryptos work from their answers to the questions of the citizens. So, I mean, I just lost my hope with tax authorities, so that's there. But on the other hand, the CNMV, so our regulator, like our SEC, I have to say they have been so supportive. So I've been so they asked some of us to go, like, I think it was like 5 years ago, they asked us to go there like one morning and just tell them what ICOs were and how did STOs work, so they could learn it before regulating it. I know one of my clients on Thursday, he's just speaking about staking to the regulators because they want to know how it works. So they are very supportive. They are very open-minded. They are very they're willing to have crypto projects in the sandbox. And they are, I mean, I only have like very positive words towards them because I have seen it, and I work with regulators very closely because some of my clients, they need a license to operate, and I work with them. But I mean, I don't have like any sort of not very good comment towards them. And that was one question, and
the second was if you see any administration in Europe,
yeah, at the European level,
the adoption.
Yeah, do you know INATBA? So this Alastria in Spain developed an ID standard. I just read like a couple of days ago that it's being adopted as a standard at a European level. So I think that Europe is pushing a lot forward towards using blockchain technology where it makes sense. So not in every single space, but like in ID. And I mean, at the end of the day, the working group of the blockchain observatory, it started like 3 years ago. But if you see the members that are in the groups, they even counted with Vlad, which is an Ethereum researcher. So the European Commission, I think they did it so well because they asked, or they counted on like very different profiles of the crypto space, and who are adding different values to the group. And this is why regulations such as MiCA, when you read them, make sense. It's not so much of a burden as it is as an enabler of the industry.
Very good. Okay, that is very interesting, Chris. Let's read the one question that we have here. That, well, Fernanda is asking, what do you think about applying mediation on blockchain?
Okay, good question. I've had my doubts about this one because I don't know if you have read about online dispute resolution mechanisms. I don't think they quite work. I mean, I'm a lawyer, and I don't like people applying the law who are not judges, which I think it's quite dangerous. And this is very unpopular, but I'm not a fan of these decentralized courts like Aragon has. I'm not a fan. I mean, I think it's so dangerous to believe that law is better applied and interpreted by non-lawyers. I don't think that's a very good idea to have, but that's that. And then there are also some protocols like Kleros is another one. I like this one better because they use as basis arbitration. And what they do is like they have a pool of experienced and very specialized arbitrators. So in case you've got like a dispute online, you can choose from a pool of very specific and knowledgeable arbitrators that are there. But then again, I really prefer courts. Okay. So I don't see them working very effectively yet. Mm-hmm. Because they've got this token. The issue is that they are token incentivized. So I can see some conflicts of interest there, where you've got to judge something, but you earn tokens. The more you judge, the more tokens you earn. I don't know. I don't see that system.
Okay. By the way, Chris, now that we talk about, well, Fernanda is saying something that I have a legal tech who do ODR with mediation. I'm not sure about what, if I understand.
Yeah, but, yeah. She says that she works for a legal tech, or she owns a legal tech that they do online dispute resolution. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I will, if Fernanda, if you can write the name of the legal tech, I would be very happy to take a look, just for curiosity.
Very good. What about notaries and registries? How do you see that blockchain can affect notaries and registries?
I'm talking about Spain, and I hope blockchain does not affect at all our notaries and our registries, because they work so perfectly well. We've got so much legal certainty thanks to our notaries and our registries that I wouldn't, I mean, I would never, ever use blockchain as a substitute of a registry or a notary. I wouldn't.
Okay, that's very interesting. And what about in some other countries? Do you know any country that they're using this technology to somehow replace these kind of figures?
Yes, I know, because I've got a friend that went quite a while to Colombia, and he was there developing with the regulators of Colombia and the government, the Colombian government. They were developing a registry on the blockchain, but because they hadn't had like a proper registry for centuries, so they were trying to use the blockchain and registries like as some sort of, let's do this for the first time and do it with blockchain. Okay, but in Spain, you know, we've got one of the most robust public systems that I would say in the world. You can just look up for a property, and you've got every single thing that, or every single burden that that property has. You can see it like online. And notaries are, I mean, they are basic for our legal world to work properly. So I know some jurisdictions use them, and I think in Asia some territories also use blockchain for registries, but I have not studied deeper that
Okay.
that aspect.
Well, but it's very interesting that you don't see blockchain replacing the notaries and the registries, because this is something that from time to time, no, it generates a lot of conversations.
Yeah, just one detail I would add. So just think about this. In our system, public deeds and public documents signed by notaries, and of course the registries, they are like the documents that have the strongest proof. So why on earth would someone use a blockchain-based evidence that has like it makes proof, but it doesn't make so much proof as if you present a public deed before a court. So I wouldn't ever, as a lawyer, recommend a client to use the blockchain instead of a public deed, because at the end of the day, if they've got to sue someone, the public deed will be easier to use than the blockchain-based evidence. So that's the main reason for which I wouldn't use blockchain for the purposes of the public notary or the registry.
Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Fernanda has said that the name of the startup is Legal Online Mediation. I don't know if you heard about it.
No, but I will check it.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, here we have another question from Eduardo Herbaz. How do you think we will manage the right to be forgotten and blockchain?
I like this one. So do you know Michelle Fink? She has been the biggest supporter. She's a researcher, and she's been like the biggest supporter of the issue around GDPR and blockchain, and she's a very close friend to me. So we've been discussing this for like a very long time. I would say that what we will end up doing is blocking the access to the data on the blockchain. So, you know, on the blockchain, some data cannot be erased as such, because they are public blockchains are immutable or almost immutable, but it cannot be erased. But what we can do is like obfuscate the access to that data, and that should be, so we need to do a flexible interpretation of GDPR to be able to conclude that obfuscating the access to that data is the same as erasing the data. Because at the end of the day, if no one can ever access that data anymore, like no way, that's the same as erasing it.
Yes. Wow.
So I think we will.
Wow, yeah. That is really interesting. That is very. I don't want to forget a question that we always make to all our speakers. That is now related to blockchain. What do you think are the 3 most interesting projects around the world? And it can be startups, it can be institutions, it can be corporate, or maybe
Okay.
three for startups, 3 for institutions, 3 for corporates. I mean,
Okay, so one thing that I do not do, because I think it's not fair, is I do not recommend projects that I work with, because I don't like recommending ones and not the other. So
okay.
all the projects I work with are super, but leaving that aside,
So we're
I would
missing
say,
the good ones, Chris? We're missing the good
yeah. Yeah, but I would say, so my super favorite one is called Engine. And Engine is it's the one doing the infrastructure beneath non-fungible non-fungible tokens.
Okay.
I love Engine. So it's making me like crazy. Then in DeFi,
But
I would say
Engine is a startup, or is a
yeah,
it's
it's a startup. Yeah, they're a startup. They've been like they've been working now like for I think it's almost 4 or 5 years that I can remember of, because I've been showing their infrastructure to my law students like for 3 years now. So that's one. I would say in DeFi, probably my top project would be Aave, which is AAVE, which is a protocol where you just stake tokens, and they've got like these liquidity pools and this balancer. So that's crazy to see how it works. And I would say a third one. Well, I would say it's either. Well, of course, Ethereum and Bitcoin. Those are the king and the queen. But I would say that I would say those, and I'm trying to think on another one that may be quite like not very known, but that it can boost. And I would say maybe something around Engine, Aave, and I would say maybe Cardano.
Cardano.
Or
I've heard of this one.
Yeah, Cardano, and the will make a difference. It's the one.
Sorry very much. I lost a second. You so some seconds. So you
sorry.
No, it was me probably.
The last one that I would say that we should all follow, because I think it's going to make a very big difference for the world. It doesn't have a name, because it's this initiative that Jack Dorsey is executing in Africa, and where he's trying to take this blockchain infrastructure for people to be able to earn and so have like a living out of crypto. And it doesn't have a name. I know he's supporting it from Square, and he just personally, I think he donated I think it was 500 Bitcoins to the initiative, which is quite a lot of money. And I mean, how would it be if we could see the blockchain technology making a difference for those undeveloped countries, which need so much help, and that no one is actually helping in absolutely any way? I would just love it for him to get this thing working there. Yeah, and I'm following that one very closely too, but it doesn't have a name.
Okay. Well, Chris, we are about to finish now. It was a real pleasure having you here. Very inspiring.
My pleasure.
Very inspiring, and I think we learned a lot about the status quo of blockchain and crypto. And well, maybe in some time we will invite you again to see the evolution of all these new technologies. So thank you very much again.
Thank you all for your time.
Okay, and listen, everybody, thank you so much for connecting today. I hope it was very interesting, and see you in the next one. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.